Welcome to Passwordstate tutorials. In this video I'd like to show you how to begin creating folders and password lists, but first I'll give you an explanation of what these are. Password lists are containers that you will use to store one or more similar passwords. These password lists can be set up differently depending on what type of passwords you'll be storing in them, and an example would be that you want to store website logins into one password list but credit card details into another. Folders are used to store one or more password lists together, and they don't directly hold any passwords. Ideally, you would store a bunch of password lists inside a folder that are related in some way. For example, you might create a folder with the name of the team of your department, and inside that folder you'll have several password lists for the different passwords that your team is responsible for. To add a new folder, either right-click somewhere in the navigation tree, or alternatively, use the Passwords menu on the left-hand side to perform the same thing. Once you give your folder a name and click Save, it will appear in your navigation tree. Likewise, with password lists, you can create these by right-clicking an existing folder in the navigation tree, or use the menu system on the left-hand side. There are two different types of password lists that you can create. A shared password list is one that you would use to give multiple people access to the same set of passwords that it holds. Or a private password list is for your own use only, and you would store things like your own personal social media logins in a private list. No one else can see or access your private passwords, not even security administrators of Passwordstate. Password lists have a lot of different settings and can be configurable to hold almost any types of data that you like. Examples are software licenses, website logins, privileged accounts, credit card information, or just generic logins into company applications. When creating a new password list, you'll be presented with a wizard where you should first give it a name, a description, and then you'll choose from a number of different templates. Each template is configured differently depending on what type of data you want to store in it. If it's a shared password list, the next step in the wizard is to then set which users will have access to it. By default, you, the password list creator, is granted admin permissions, which gives you complete control over the list and all its contents. There are also modify and view permissions you can assign if you want to grant your users a lesser amount of privileges. When applying permissions, you can either assign a security group or an individual user. Now you should review your settings and click Finish, and when the page refreshes, you'll see your new empty password list. If you need to tweak the settings on your password list, you can do this at any time as long as you have admin rights. To do this, you can either use the right-click menu and edit the properties, or use the List Administrator Actions menu. There are quite a lot of different settings you can configure on this page, so I'd encourage you to read through all of these options and learn what each of them can do. Under the Customize Fields tab, there are 9 different standard fields that are pretty common types of fields that are used. There are also 10 different generic fields that you can enable if the standard fields don't hold the data that you are expecting to store in your password list. An example could be that you may want to store email addresses on each of your records, or maybe you need to reference something like a floor number if you work in a multi-story building. As you can imagine, these custom fields allow you to store pretty much any type of data that you need. Now that we have folders and password lists in the system, we're ready to start adding in passwords, and we'll cover this in the next video. So thanks for watching another one of our training videos, and we hope this helps you get started with Passwordstate. For more in-depth training videos, please see the Click Studios webpage or our custom YouTube training channel.